Hey guys, it's me, Seren, back with another video. So I had to film this video because it's so funny. I filmed my Insecure and Yvonne Orgy video like in September, right? Like a month ago. And I kept saying, I'm gonna upload it, I'm gonna upload it, I'm gonna upload it. And like other things kept happening and like the time kept getting away from me. And I ended up just uploading it this past, what was that, Saturday? Saturday or Monday even? Whatever day that was. Might have even been Monday, whatever day that was. And it's so funny because what do I always say? Whenever I film a video and I can't get it up, and when I finally get it up, it's like something else happens that like reinforces it. I swear that always happens. So today, I put up that video on Insecure, right? And an article comes out today literally, right? Saying that 62% of the audience of Insecure is white. 62% of the viewers of Insecure are white. That means that only 38% of the viewers of Insecure are people of color. And out of that people of color, who knows how many are actually black? And out of that number, who knows how many are actually like Black Americans, right? Like DACS, which is what this show is supposed to be representing, right? So just like I've been saying about this show, in my opinion, is modern day minstrelry, right? And for those of you that don't know what a minstrel is, I'm gonna read it to you. Hold on. Sorry, it's minstrelsy. The minstrel show, or every time I hear that, I think of Little Brother, the minstrel show. The minstrel show, or minstrelsy, was an American form of entertainment developed in the early 19th century. Each show consisted of comic skits, variety acts, dancing, and music performances that mocked black people. The shows were performed by white people in makeup or blackface for the purpose of playing the role of black people. There were also some black performers and all black minstrel groups that formed and toured under the direction of white people. Minstrel shows often lampooned black people as dim-witted, lazy, buffoonish, superstitious, and happy-go-lucky. Now, I'm going to read that again. There were some black performers and all black minstrel groups that formed and toured under the direction of white people. To me, that is Insecure. I feel like Insecure is a minstrel show. It is an example of modern day minstrelsy. I said minstrelry before, sorry. Minstrelsy, where you have these foreign blacks fucking like Yvonne Orgy's Nigerian ass, fucking Issa Rae, who's half Senegalese, she's a fucking African. You know, you have these people that are fucking dressing up in, a caricature of what they think Black American culture is, and they're putting on this show of Black American-ness. Ooh, girl, yes, ooh, child, this lit, that, ooh, bippity, boppity, boo, blappity, boom, bam, bam, for white people. 62% of their audience is white. You cannot tell me this is not a fucking minstrel show. This is a fucking minstrel show. These are people that are fucking putting, again, a Black American caricature of us and our culture. They're putting it on like a coat for a check, but they don't even know us. They don't even know our culture. It is not authentic. It doesn't come across as authentic. The dialogue is forced and stilted. Somebody wrote me on Instagram DMs, and I'm going to read you guys some comments. Somebody wrote me on Instagram DMs and was like, the dialogue on Insecure and on a lot of these other shows sounds like as if they just took every single hashtag from Twitter and they just like threw it in a blender. They just like threw it in a pot and like that is the dialogue. Like that, and it's a minstrel show. It's a minstrel show. And now here comes this article talking about 62% of their audience is white. Why do you think white people like this shit so much? Anything white people like is a bad thing. Like, anything that white people like and this much is a bad thing. If they're not being made uncomfortable and if they're not being challenged, I personally feel, and I know I've said this before in this channel, anything that too many people like, period, is a bad thing. Because there's so many people in the world, and there should be so many different types of ideas and opinions that nobody should unanimously feel the same way about any one thing, except like maybe Michael Jackson is like the exception to that. But like aside from that, like anything that too many people like blindly like, or like, really, really fuck with. I feel like anything that's like palatable for the masses and the mainstream is just bland. It means you're not being challenged. That's just really how I feel about it. If you're not being made uncomfortable, if you're not being challenged, then is it really a good thing? That's just my personal philosophy on that. But when it comes to Insecure in particular, the bulk, by far, the majority of the viewers of this show are white people. It is a minstrel show made for them. It is a caricature of Black American culture. It is a performance of Black Americanness specifically for white consumption, period. Nobody can change my mind. Nobody can convince me otherwise. And here, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. 62% of the audience is white. I don't want to hear it. So now I'm going to read you guys some of the conversations that I've been having on Instagram. Because I had posted, because somebody sent me the article that said that that the bulk of the audience was white. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I mean, I can believe it, but it's hilarious. So I put it on Instagram. We all started talking about it, having a conversation. I'm shook because I actually liked the show. I found the plots interesting, but to be honest, the dialogue always sounded weird to me, like a Dear White People weird. But I just kind of overlooked it because I like the stories. And every time you get proven right, you're a prophet. I was like, I don't try to. It really just happens. And every time you talk about Insecure, I fall more and more out of love with that show. I wrote back, I said, I'm dying. This is hilarious. I feel like I kept saying that nobody is watching this show, and everybody said I was tripping. And the person was like, I think we get fooled by Black Twitter. We think that translates into Black viewers, which I thought was a really interesting comment. And somebody else is going to say something a little bit later on that I'm going to get to that was sort of along those same lines. And that's almost this idea, which I feel like I've talked about before on this channel, but in terms of like other situations, social media, number one, I think social media is like really influencing people's brains, but that's like a whole different video. Like social media is still so new that there have not been studies on like what type of like long-term effects that it has on people's brains. But even though there have been studies showing that it increases like depression and loneliness and apathy and all types of stuff, but social media will give you an idea, but it's just like the world is a big fucking place and real life is real life. So just because, all 500 of the people that you follow on Twitter are watching Insecure, like that does not mean that like everybody's watching Insecure. So there is this sense of social media, and I think Twitter in particular is really a place where this happens a lot, of sort of amplifying things and shaping situations. And there was the good side of that, which was, bringing a lot of social justice issues and causes to light and giving people a way to connect and giving people ways to spread their ideas. Then there's also kind of a flip side to that, a darker side, where it can give you an idea of something that is not really real, that's not really true. Damn. Florida Evans voice. That's what they really wrote. The Black radicalism is reduced to her t-shirts, talking about the clothes on Insecure. Slavery is a running joke, which other people have mentioned. There's a show within a show where they make fun of slavery and where they make fun of like rape, like the rape of slaves by like slave masters and just all types of shit, which does not surprise me because they're not DACS, so of course they think that kind of thing is funny. The Black rat, what I think is funny when it comes to killing a slave master, but apparently I'm the only one that thinks shooting a slave master is hilarious. Me and Neil. Play it again. That's Dave Chappelle. Slavery is a running joke. They use the word nigga mad weird, even for LA folks. Why am I not even surprised? I was like, I'm not surprised at all, to be honest. Somebody else was like, wow, I would have never thought a lot of white people watched the show to begin with, but 62%? Wow. She's happily surprised, because in the article, which if you guys want to read it, I'll link in the description box, Issa said like, that she's happily surprised that this many white people watch her show. So somebody was like, and she's happily surprised because that check clears. White folks need a clean dose of American Blackness, and she's the plug. I really liked that sentence. White folks need a clean dose of American Blackness, and she's the plug. I like the use of the word clean, because just like we've talked about previously in terms of foreign Blacks being able to occupy this space of being able to perform their idea of Black American culture without actually being us. It's like it's fiction, right? It's like white people don't have to look us actual DACS in the face and think about slavery when they're looking at one of them. You know, I read an article recently that was in The Guardian. I will link it in the description box as well, where it was talking about, you know, the whole foreign black actors thing. And one of the actors that was interviewed for the piece, who was a black Brit, said, you know, we're able to, sometimes it's better for us to act in these type of roles in the United States because we're able to, he said, we're able to unshackle ourselves from, you know, racial tension and history and just play the role. And I think there's really something to that, right? This belief that, again, they want a clean dose of Black Americanness. They like this idea of us. They like this idea of our culture. They love Black American culture. They do not like Black American bodies. So they want to slide a foreign black body in there. They want to slide, you know, they want to slide a non-black POC in there. Ideally, they want to slide a white person in there. But if they can't slide a white person in there, they're trying to find these other ways around having to look us DACS in the face while they get our culture. And Issa Rae is the plug. Just like I said about Bruno Mars. Issa is stepping up to the plate also, like, I'll give you what you want. And then a lot of the reasoning behind, oh, it's fine, is that, well, she's just trying to get a check, or she's just trying to get a career, or, you know, like we've heard a lot of people say in terms of like the foreign blacks, like, well, they can't get ahead in their home country, so they have to come to the United States. Like, okay, but like you're actively, you know, supporting and participating in the oppression of DACS for a check, right? Capitalists, right? Like, capitalists. We fought hard to try to get some type of representation for ourselves here. And then you have people that come here, they benefit from not, you know, really being DACS, but getting that representation on a screen, and yet at the same time, they're not us. So there's this like disconnect that makes it more comfortable for white people and for white mainstream infrastructure, you know, to watch and absorb. Like, they are willing participants. They're really ready and willing participants, you know, instead of yet again, when we've been talking about this idea of global black strongholds, you know, trying to build up infrastructure in their home country, trying to exist outside of a white supremacist infrastructure and build things up, you know, send the elevator back down for people in their own country, or make it so that even we as Americans can maybe fucking figure, you know, go somewhere else and see other types of things. You know, they come here, people always say crabs in a barrel. You guys know I hate that saying because the crab's natural habitat is not a barrel, and our barrel is full, and they come here and squeeze in and tell us move over and starve because they want a check and they want a career, and they don't care about what's best for all black people, you know, the black diaspora as a collective, you know, globally. It's an issue, it's a problem. And I just feel like the release of these numbers, that 62% of the audience of Insecure is white, it supports my point. So you think Insecure purposely caters to white people? I always thought it was one of the few shows that felt like it was for black people, besides the character of Molly, aka Agent Orgy. She was always low-key cringy. And I replied, I said, I do not think the show is for black people. No. I think it purposely caters to white folks. Yes. I honestly think it's modern-day minstrelsy. You guys know I can't pronounce anything. Putting on these performances of blackness primarily for white consumption. I do. It is a show for white people. They said, wow, I honestly thought I had a niche audience of strictly black people in their 20s and 30s, but I guess nothing should surprise me anymore. The show is kind of corny, so it makes sense that white people are the ones keeping it afloat. Whenever the lines felt corny or forced, I thought it was because they were trying to speak to a younger audience, I guess below their age group, but I kind of let it slide because I liked seeing all black people. It's kind of annoying because it seems like every show now has these fundamental issues that makes it hard to enjoy, at least for me, because certain things I can't ignore. And I wrote back, I said, welcome to my world. I don't watch shit. I hate everything. Some stuff, obviously, you could put your feelings to the side and just enjoy, but for me, Insecure was not one of those things. And they wrote back, yeah, I get it. It's hard to support if you feel like they're harming your community in some way. And just like I said in my other video, like, why are they all playing black Americans? Like, if you want to do a show, why don't you do a show about being yourself, being who you are, being this African or or again, a show about being a first generation fucking immigrant. Like, tell your own story. Why do you feel the need to put on Black Americanness like a fucking coat? Cynthia Erivo, weird ass, said she wants to play Serena fucking Williams in a fucking movie. What's wrong with this bitch? Like, she's really fucking obsessed with Black Americans in our culture. It's fucking weird. Like, she's a fucking stalker on some single white female type shit, bitch. Like, back the fuck up. Ain't no fucking British Nigerian bitches you could play in a movie. Like, they want fame, they want acclaim, they want money, they want careers, they want to be able to fucking give the people, i.e. white mainstream audiences, what they want while still being disconnected from actually being a DACS, right? Serena Williams is a DACS that had to deal with everything that comes with being a motherfucking fat-ass DACS playing tennis in this country, right? You didn't have to deal with that, bitch. Why are you so obsessed? And I was just like, why are you so obsessed with me, you fucking weirdos? Because they see a check. They see dollar signs. They see careers. They see fame. They see acclaim. And deep down, all these people want white validation. What did Issa Rae say in the interview when she found out that 62% of her audience is white? That she was happily surprised and that she thinks it's dope and cool, right? Just like we were talking about in the video about culture. They want white validation so that they can feel validated in their lives and in their careers. That's all they care about. They're obsessed. They're obsessed with white people and they're obsessed with Black Americans. Really, for real. Comment. I'm Senegalese, so I agree that she could have made it so that the African characters were African because it would have been interesting, but I also don't think Issa Rae identifies that much with the Senegalese community either. And I had a conversation like that with somebody that I'm really cool with on Instagram DMs because I said, we were talking about how do we feel about Issa. I said, I feel like she does not strike me as Black American at all. And they said that she doesn't strike them as Senegalese or as a continental African at all. Like, I was like, well, I guess, she's really trying to find her place. And this is what I said to the other person. I said, I think she really is a weird girl trying to find her place, which is fine, which I respect. But in my opinion, this ain't it when it comes to Insecure. Awkward Black Girl, for example, which I did like, was more of an example of her trying to find her place versus Insecure, which is, again, obviously this fucking minstrel show of these people dressing up in what they believe to be Black American culture, a caricature, Black American caricatures, putting it on like a coat, performative Black Americanism for white consumption. That is not her trying to find herself. I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. So I also asked somebody what made them think that the show had a primarily Black audience. They were like, oh, I thought the audience was primarily Black people in their 20s and 30s. I said, why do you think that? They said probably social media and who I would see talking about it in hashtags, podcasts, YouTube, etc. Back when I was interested, and this is the very beginning though. And I said, I see a lot of other people have also brought up social media as an indicator of the audience, right? Like, everything is not social media. Like, there's a big, wide world outside of social media. And that's exactly what the person wrote me back. Just goes to show how much bigger the world is than social media, even though a lot of people, myself included, get wrapped up in it. I said Insecure is a bunch of foreign Blacks and Africans playing Black American caricatures for a white audience, period. It is modern day minstrelsy. And somebody replied, when your show helps white America feel cool and hip, no wonder they're using our slang from 5 years ago. And I said, it's like a hello fellow Negroes ass show. Have y'all ever seen that meme where it's like, hello fellow kids? Insecure is like that meme if it was, hello fellow Negroes. I too am one of you. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not. You're Black like me, but you're not a DACS like me, and you never will be ever. Sorry. They're acting like niggas to entertain the whites. I can't believe that 62% of the audience is white. Sheesh. Somebody else, OMG, I freaking knew it. I was just telling my mother there is no way in hell it's Black Americans watching that show. It's not authentic at all. Right? It's really not. And the Black radicalism is definitely reduced to her t-shirts. They put all the tropes in one show and called it revolutionary. And we were also talking about this new show that just got announced by Netflix, which is going to be about an Afro-Colombian witch who is brought back to life. That's what I got loosely from what I've read so far. And it's like a darker skinned woman who actually is a real Afro-Colombian in the role. And I was like, I would prefer something like this, like seeing different stories from the diaspora being told by different Black people from the diaspora themselves over something like Insecure, a bunch of people dressing up in what they think Black American culture is, doing this performative Black Americanness for white consumption. And I said that on Instagram, and somebody said, I've been obsessed with the Afro-Latinx experience in Central South America, honestly, after you suggested for people to read Silva Bonilla. If you have not heard of that author, please look it up. I'm so ready for this Netflix show. And I said, the Netflix Afro-Colombian series might be really interesting if they don't fuck it up. For example, I would watch something like that before a bullshit Charmed reboot, or Insecure, which is people playing dress up. Like, I just want to see people being themselves. I want to see some real stories of some real people being themselves. Not like reality TV, but like some good writing, some good authentic dialogue, some people that are playing their own stories, some folklore and mythology, not all this playing around in other people's fucking cultures and doing all this fucking performing for white consumption because you want white validation, because you are a capitalist that's chasing fame and acclaim and money and a career, right? Because you are a willing participant in the system of white supremacy. And because you know that your status as a foreign Black in this white supremacist hierarchy puts you over DACS, so you ride that shit until the wheels fall off. I'm mad over that shit. I'm over that shit. I'm done with it. And like I said, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. The bulk of the audience of this show, 62%, is white. That leaves only 38% of viewers are people of color. And out of that, how many are Black? And out of that, how many are Black Americans? This show's not for us, and we are not watching it. So, another Insecure video. Food for thought as always. Let me know what you think in the comments. Links will be in the description box. Related videos will be in the description box, and also by clicking the eye in the right-hand corner. Peace. So it's obviously later. I have some different lights on. Some stuff's a little bit different. I was in the middle of editing, and I actually got some more really interesting, great comments that I wanted to read you guys, that I wanted to be in this video. So let me read them really, really quick, and then we'll really be done. Somebody said it was pandering, which I really liked. Pandering in any sense of the word to America is sick to me. I said it's definitely pandering. That's a perfect word for what I feel like is being done with this show. A lot of pandering to white audiences. 62% is a very high number of white viewers, but for inauthenticity, it's not that surprising. White people flock to Insecure like they do to sage cleanses or ethnic fabric or chicken tikka masala. I think subconsciously they realize they're getting a safe version of whatever it is they find fascinating. I said, OMG, I agree. Somebody else was like, so glad you're addressing this because I was born in LA and have lived here most of my life. And when I watch that show, I just don't identify with it. I'm like, I've never met these people. And I remember I've said that previously as well. Like, I tried watching this here and I was like, I don't know these people. And when I've talked to my Black female friends from LA about it, they all feel the same, like it doesn't represent our lifestyle at all. I honestly tried to like it, even though it annoyed me and made very little sense, because I wanted to support Black people, but luckily I stopped once I got hip to the scam. The very last comment I wanted to read that I definitely want to end on, there's a huge difference when you know the culture between what you make for consumption and what you make for yourself and your people. It applies to basically all parts of culture. And if you don't have the deep cultural connection, how can you make anything but caricatures? The end.